Hello, everyone. In this session, we're going to explore the nature and the scope of the principles of microeconomics and learn how this subject can help us to find an answer to the most fundamental economic problems we face as an individual as well as society. So let's start with a simple but profound question. So, what is economics? Let me go to the lecture note. So, what is economics? You are already spending a great deal of time thinking about some economic issues. For example, use of your time, money, etc. You only have 24 hours a day and the 7 days a week. You only have a finite income. So, what does it tell you? The more time you spend for fun, the less time you're going to have for schoolwork. Or the more money you spend on games, the less money for food or something else. So that means you have to prioritize the use of your time and money. And concerns about employment is also an example of economic issue. What are the chances that you will have a job lined up by the time you complete your college education? So as you get closer and closer to your graduation, it is natural that you start following what's happening in the national or regional economy. When our economy is doing better, the chances that you're going to have a high paying job will also be greater. And another example, the decisions you just made to pick courses for the upcoming semester. You cannot work while you are sitting in a class. The more classes you take, the less time you're going to have for work. So these are all examples of economic issues. So just for your information, the word economy comes from the Greek word oikonomos, which means one who manages a household. Think of a butler who has to make a whole series of choice or decisions. I mean, you cannot do everything all at once. So you have to decide what needs to be done first, or what can be done later. And also, the word economics is also coming from the Greek word oikonomia, meaning domestic management. So think about this. To manage a household, you have to make so many choices that entail just so many decision making. Okay. So think about all the decisions you are making in your daily lives. Then the ultimate question is, why are we making decisions? Or why are we forced to make so many decisions? The most fundamental reason why we are facing choice problems is that resources are limited or scarce, while human wants and needs are literally unlimited. So if I write this down, resources are limited or scarce, while our human wants or needs are virtually unlimited. So there is an obvious mismatch. That's exactly the problem of scarcity, and that's why we are forced to make a lot of decisions in our lives. So let's define the concept scarcity. So what is exactly scarcity? If you look at the textbook definition of scarcity reads like this. Society has limited resources, so it cannot produce enough goods and services people wish to have. So simply put, when the amount of something available is less than people want to have, we say there exists scarcity. So let me summarize here. Amount of something available is less than the amount of people wanted to have. So whenever we have this problem, we say there exists scarcity. Now, note that the concept of scarcity is not necessarily confined to the physical amount of something. Think about this. The US economy produces enough food to feed everyone, but some people in extreme poverty still do not consume enough food. So what does this tell you? Sometimes scarcity is caused by poor distribution due to less than ideal economic or political system. So do not ever think scarcity is just an issue of what physically available, resources. Even if we have enough resources, but if we fail to distribute those resources the best way we can, then we still suffer from this scarcity. Now, so all see, after all, economics is all about making a better decision. So you have a limited or scarce resources, yet you have literally unlimited wants and needs. So that means that you cannot satisfy everyone's want and need. Then you have to prioritize them. So where are you gonna use your limited resources? When you have a limited, finite income, that's not enough to buy everything you want. Then again, you have to prioritize. Where are you gonna spend your first dollar? And where are you gonna spend your last dollar? That is all what the all economics is about. So, so we can define economics like this. So let me go back to the first question. So what is economics? So economics is simply what? The study of, so simply economics is the study of how society manages its scarce resources. Okay. Well, here the definition says a society, but that doesn't necessarily mean society as a group. Okay. The concept of scarcity does apply to both individuals and society. So the economics is all about the study that teaches us how to manage our scarce resources in a way that we get the most out of what the limited amount of resources. That's what economics is all about. Or simply, you may say economics is all about making a better choice, if not best. Okay. All right. Let's start discuss the 10 principles of economics. So in the textbook, the author uh, sums up important economic lessons in 10 principles. They are grouped under three different categories as follows. The first category, so there are four guiding principles in the category of how people make decisions. So the first four guiding principles are relevant to individual decision making. So people face trade-offs. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. Rational people think at the margin. People respond to incentives. And then there are three guiding principles in the category of how people interact. Now, individual to individual transactions, exchanges. A trade can make everyone better off. Markets are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. And then finally, three more economic principles in the category of how the economy as a whole works. And those the principles are a country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and services. Prices rise when the government prints too much money. Society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. In this chapter, we're going to discuss only the first seven the principles of economics. The last three principles are related to a nation's economy or the economy as a whole. So we are going to leave those last economic principles for the principles of macroeconomics, ECON 201. So we're going to skip them and discuss only the first seven principles in this class. So let's start with the first number one principle. People face trade-offs. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Here, what we mean by trade-offs is that any action you pursue does entail the loss of an opportunity to do something else. Suppose you are studying economics at the library and one of your friends offers you a free lunch. Is it truly free? Well, since you don't have to pay for the lunch, it is a free lunch. But it doesn't mean the lunch does not incur any cost. Even though you don't have to pay for the lunch, you still lose an opportunity to do something else instead of having lunch with your friend. So let's talk about this economic principle at the different levels. First, at the household level or at an individual level, you often face this choice problem. Who's working? Who's staying home or cooking? Well, you cannot work while taking care of all the household chores. So when you decided to work, then you have to give up an opportunity to take care of house chores or opportunity to spend the time with your children. So whatever it is, whenever you pursue one activity, that means you have to forego something else. So that's a trade-off. How much money are you spending on what? So as we explained earlier, you have a finite amount of income. So when you spend one more dollar on food, then you will have a one less dollar available for healthcare or something else. So as you spend one more dollar on something, then you will have a one less dollar available for something else. So that is trade-off. Now, let's discuss the concept of a trade-off at the society level. Think about this question. Should we spend more money on border security, healthcare, or education? Many of you would remember the showdown last year between the Trump administration and House Democrats when President Trump asked for more than $4 billion for border security. Why did the showdown happen? Well, it wouldn't have happened if we had an unlimited amount of money or tax dollars. If we had enough tax dollars, enough government budget, then what? Without having to give up on any of these issues, we could take care of what? Border security, healthcare, education all together. But the reality is that we do not have enough money to take care of all of these issues. So when you spend one more dollar on border security, that means what? We have a one less dollar available for healthcare or education. Okay. So from an economist viewpoint, the ultimate cause of the showdown is not necessarily the differences in philosophical view or political view. From an economist viewpoint, the ultimate cause of the last year's showdown is what? Simply the scarcity of what? Budget funds. If we had more than enough tax dollars, then we wouldn't have such a problem. Okay. Now let's talk about another choice problem. Think about this statement. Should we collect more tax dollars from wealthy Americans and transfer the tax dollars to the poor or middle income families? So, well, I'm not asking uh, for your stance on this particular issue. What I mean is, this example is not about your altruism or philosophical viewpoint. We use this seemingly socio-economic debate as an example of what? Trade-off. Well, it is quite true that wealthy Americans did receive better and more education than uh, the poor or middle income families. So when they did receive more and better education, chances are they will have a better financial management skills. And that's why they tend to own a lot of businesses. So when we give the same amount of money to wealthy Americans with the better financial management skills and the poor or middle income families. So chances are money in wealthy Americans' hands will grow a lot faster. And now, so here's we have two issues. If you are only concerned about growing money, growing assets, then probably what? We will be better off leaving additional dollars in the hands of wealthy Americans because they have they tended to have a better financial management skills. But if we are concerned about the general economic well-being of everyone, then we will be better off leaving additional tax dollars in the hands of what? Poor or middle income families. So one important lesson we learn from this example is efficiency and equality. So let's first define the two concepts of efficiency and equality. So what is efficiency? Efficiency is what? Getting the most you can from your scarce or limited resources. In other words, you get every last drop out of limited resources. Or simply put, efficiency means what? You are minimizing unnecessary waste. That's simply the concept of efficiency. So that is minimizing any unnecessary waste. That is simply the concept of efficiency. You get as much as possible out of limited resources. On the other hand, the concept of equality. Now, well, equality in extreme sense, equality is what? An extreme form of fairness. The textbook definition of equality is distributing the outcome of economic prosperity uniformly among members. So that means, well, this is a very strong definition. Distributing the outcome of economic prosperity uniformly, evenly among all members of society. Well, it will probably never happen in real life, but that's why I said equality based on the definition of a textbook definition. The equality is what the extreme form of what fairness. Okay, so now let's go back to the last example. Should we collect more tax dollars from wealthy Americans and transfer the tax dollars to the poor or middle income families? So when we take additional tax dollars from wealthy Americans, that means what? We leave less amount of dollars in the hands of wealthy Americans, and that means what? They will have what? Uh, Relatively what? Limited the opportunity to grow the money to make a financial investment, for example. If we had not taken any additional tax dollars from them, then what? They would have more dollars they can use for financial investment. But when we collect more tax dollars from wealthy Americans, then what? So we are giving up a little bit of efficiency. We are giving up a better chance of what? Growing assets or money. Yet, as we transfer the tax dollars to the poor or middle income families, then what? We are improving the equality. Okay. Well, it's not going to be enough to make sure that all members of society are getting what the same income. We will probably never get there, but still, as we collect more tax dollars from wealthy Americans and use that money to help out low or middle income families, then what? We are improving equality. So, what lesson do we learn here? What we learn here is so when we collect extra tax dollars from wealthy Americans and transfer that money to low or middle income families, then what? It does improve equality, but it comes at the cost of what? Reduced efficiency. So, in other words, a reduction in the efficient use of resources is an obvious cost of improving equality here. Okay, so let me rewrite here. So our lesson from the last statement is this. A reduced efficiency, okay? So reduced efficiency is what? The is a cost of what? improving equality. So here, now try to apply the concept of a trade-off. So whenever a political party insists that we collect more tax dollars from wealthy Americans and use that tax dollars to poor or middle income families, here we are talking about what? We are trying to improve equality at the expense of what? Efficiency. So you see the trade-off between efficiency and equality. Okay, so we have two major political parties. So if you carefully compare their views, sometimes what you see a clear contrast. One party is what placing greater value on equality, improving equality, and the other party is often emphasizing the importance of what efficiency. So the trade-off between efficiency and equality. Okay. All right. Number two, the second principle of economics is the cost of something is what you give up to get it. Now, simply, this principle is all about the concept of opportunity cost. Now, think about this. What do you have to give up to stay enrolled in this course and watch your recorded lecture? It's not just the tuition you paid for the course. You also have to give up on another money-making or income-earning opportunity. So had you not registered for this class, then you will have what? More time freed up, so you could use that time to make some wages. So the true cost or the opportunity cost of you taking this particular course right now is more than the monetary expense you had to incur. It's more than the tuition and fee you had to pay for this course. The opportunity cost concept is a lot broader than that. So the opportunity cost is what? The opportunity cost of something you do is what? What you give up to get it. It's more than actual money you spend on something. So think about this. What did you have to give up to take this course? First, you had to give up certain amount of tuition and fee. And second, you also give up time that you could use for another activity. So that's what the concept of opportunity cost. Sometimes we call opportunity cost what? True cost or economic cost. Okay? So sometimes opportunity cost is referred to as economic cost of something. So simply, opportunity cost is the same as what? Economic cost. Okay. Now, think about the first example. What's the opportunity cost of having a date on the weekend? Let's say you spend $50. So let's say you spent $50 for a date. So in ordinary conversation, so we say, hey, what was the cost of what? Having a date on the weekend? You may say, hey, I spent $50. But as I said earlier, the true cost of doing something, in this example, the true cost to you of having a date on the weekend is more than the dollar amount you spent. Suppose you spent 3 hours for the date. Okay. Suppose you spent 3 hours for the date. And let's say you could easily earn $10 per hour. So then let's go back to the definition of opportunity cost. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. So look at this example and analyze all you had to give up for a date on the weekend. So then your true cost is what? So your opportunity cost of having a date on the weekend is what? The actual money that you spent, obviously, $50. But you also spent 3 hours for that date. If you had not dated your friend on the weekend, then what? You could have used the 3 hours for work, earning $10 per hour. So foregone the money making opportunity. So $10 times 3 hours. So the, your opportunity cost, what you had to give up for a date on the weekend is what? A lot more than $50. So it is actually what? $80. Okay, so this is what? Actual money you spent. And now this is what? For a date, you had to give up a money making opportunity. So this is now what? Foregone wages. So opportunity cost is what? Much more than actual dollars you spend. Okay. Now look at another example. If Frank goes to college, he will spend $21,000 on tuition, $11,000 on room and board, and $1,800 on books. If not, he will work and earn $16,000 and spend $7,200 on room and board. Well, even if Frank doesn't go to college, he still needs a place to stay. So, what's the opportunity cost to Frank of going to college? Well, in ordinary conversation, we say, hey, how much does your college education cost? So then you just add up tuition, room and board expenses, and the money that you spend on books. So that is real money that you spend. Okay. So cost of opportunity cost of the college going to college. So tuition $21,000 and the room and board $11,000. And the textbook $1,800. So what is it to sum total? Sum total is $33,800. So that is, so this is the actual money you spent. But again, remember that the concept of opportunity cost is what? Not just the actual dollars you spend. Actually, opportunity cost, the concept is what? What you have to give up to do something. So if Frank goes to college, then Frank has to spend a total of $33,800 for tuition, room and board, and books. But that is not enough. That is not a complete list of something or things that Frank has to give up to go to college. What else does he give up to go to college? Well, if Frank doesn't go to college, then what? He could work. So he can work and earn $16,000. Well, of course, he will have to spend the $7,200 for room and board. But yet, if he goes, if he works instead of going to college, so if he works, he will make how much money? So here he will earn $16,000, but of course he still needs to spend money for housing and food. So let's say that's just $7,200. So what's the difference? So here the difference is $8,800. Okay. So what Frank has to give up to get college education is what? Not only the actual dollars he needs to spend, that is $33,800, but also he has to give up a money making opportunity. Here, if he works instead of going to college, he could make $8,800. So the opportunity cost is $33,800 plus $8,800, and the sum total is $42,600. So that's the true cost, opportunity cost of a Frank going to college. So remember that the opportunity cost concept is much more than, broader than dollar amounts that you spend. Okay. In addition to actual dollar amount you spend, plus something else that you have to give up. That is the concept of the opportunity cost. Okay, number three, rational people think at the margin. So, what do we really mean by rational? When we say some people are rational, what do we mean by that? In economics, being rational means that people act in a consistent manner with their prior commitment or goals. Simply put, you are not self defeating or defeating the purpose. So when you act, behave in a manner consistent with your goals or prior commitment, then we say you are rational. Then what do we mean by at the margin? So when we say people think at the margins, so that means what? You make a small incremental adjustment to an existing plan. So sometimes what you want to do a little more of an activity, or sometimes you want to reduce the level of your current activity. So you make a small incremental adjustment to an ongoing action activity. So whenever we say you are making small incremental adjustment by comparing benefit and cost, we say you are behaving or thinking at the margin. Okay. Well, let's define the concept using a couple of examples here. So first, the table below shows Jalen's valuation of slices of pizza and the price she pays for it. Note that her valuation of a pizza slice diminishes as she consumes more slices. What it means is, as you consume, as Jalen consumes more and more slices of pizza, then what she is drawing less and less satisfaction from additional slice of pizza. I mean, it's always true. As our stomach is filled up, then we get less and less satisfaction. So if Jalen wishes to maximize her total benefit or satisfaction and makes a rational choice, how many slices of pizza will she consume? So if Jalen is a rational decision maker, and if she does think at the margin, so if she behaves in a manner that she maximizes her total satisfaction, then how many slices of pizza do you think she needs to consume? So look at this table. So here, the first column of this table is what? The number of slices of pizza. So 1 through 5 slices of pizza. And the second column shows Jalen's valuation of what? Each slice of pizza. So here, so when she has number one slice, first slice, and she thinks the first slice of pizza is worth $5. Of course, in real life, it's not always easy to put a dollar value, to assign a dollar value to food, but let's assume that we can do that here. Now, when she has two slices of pizza, then what? She already finished the one slice. And so when she has two slices of pizza, then what? On the second slice of pizza, on that second slice of pizza, she will, she will value the second slice of pizza at $4. So she already consumed the one slice of pizza. So when she had a second slice, then what? She still draws a good amount of satisfaction, but the satisfaction she draws from the second slice of pizza is not as big as what, as large as the, her satisfaction from the first slice of pizza. Now, suppose she finished the two slices of pizza. Now, what if she has another slice of pizza? So when she has a total of three slices of pizza, then what? She draws a value of $3 from the last slice, a third slice of pizza. Again, if she continues to consume more slices of pizza, then what? From number four slice of pizza, so when she had a total of four slices of pizza, then what? She draws the $2 value, a value of $2 or $2 satisfaction from the number four slice of pizza. And of course, if she ends up having five slices of pizza, then what? The she draws only $1 satisfaction from the number five slice of pizza. So let's say she consumed all five slices of pizza. Then what is her total satisfaction? So let's do this. If, okay, if Jalen consumes five slices of pizza, then her total satisfaction is, first from the first slice, she gets $5 satisfaction, and $4, and $3, and $2, and from the last slice, the number five slice of pizza, she gets $1 satisfaction. So total is what? So her total satisfaction is $15. And then how much does it cost? How much do five slices cost? So here, if you look at the table, each slice of a pizza is what? Costing Jalen $1.50. So five slices and $1.50. So what? It will be $7.50. So if Jalen consumed five slices of pizza, she gets a total satisfaction of $15, but five slices of pizza will cost her $7.50. So what's the difference? $15 total satisfaction, but she had to spend $7.50. So the difference is what? $7.50. Okay, so now, so you just what? Compare the total cost and total benefit. Now let's go over here. Now, this time we're gonna think at the margin, okay? So, okay, put yourself in the position of Jalen, okay? So suppose you think the first slice of a pizza gives you a satisfaction of $5, and its price, what it costs, is what? $1.50. So, of course, here, well, if you have a first slice of pizza, your benefit, additional benefit you get from first slice of pizza is $5, but it costs only $1.50. So, well, benefits greater than cost. Yes, so you will eat first slice of pizza. Now, what about another slice, second slice? Well, your stomach's filled up a little bit, but you still get a $4 value out of a second slice of pizza. Yet it still costs only $1.50. So the value you draw from the second slice of pizza is greater than its cost. So yes, you will consume a second slice of pizza. So a total of two. Now, what about third slice of pizza? Well, now your stomach is filled up a little more, but still you think a third slice of pizza gives you what? A satisfaction of $3, yet it only costs you $1.50. So benefits are greater than cost. So what? Okay, I'm going to have a third slice of pizza. Now, what about number four? Well, now your stomach is what, more than half filled, but still you think it's worth $2. So benefit is $2, but it costs only $1.50. So still benefits are greater than cost. So yes, you decided to have a number four slice of a pizza. But what about number five? Well, now your stomach is what? Nearly full. So if you eat number five slice of pizza, then your satisfaction will be only what? $1. But how much does it cost? $1.50. So this time cost is greater than benefit. So you say no. You choose not to eat number five slice pizza. Okay, pizza slice. So now this time, so when you compare, so as you increase the consumption of pizza slices for after you finish one by one, then what? You compare additional benefit you can draw from an additional slice of pizza and the cost of that additional pizza slice. So you increase the consumption only if additional benefit you draw is greater than additional cost. So when you think like this, or when you think at the margin, then what? You're gonna have only what? Only four slices of pizza. So let's compare. So when you have a four slices of pizza, so how much? So when you have a four slices of pizza, then what? Your total satisfaction is $5 from first slice, $4 from second slice, and $3 and $2 because you're gonna consume only four slices pizza. So what? Your total benefit from consuming four slices pizza is $14. So total cost is here is what? $1.50 is what? For each slice of pizza. And then you're gonna consume four slices, so total cost is $6. So now your net gain is what? Total satisfaction $14, and the total cost is $6. So now what? The difference is $8. Now what do you see? So when you think at the margin, then what? Your net gain or the difference between total satisfaction and total cost will be what? The largest. That's the power of what? Thinking at the margin. So as I said earlier, as you make a small incremental adjustment. So when you decide how many slices of a pizza, but if you think at the margin, so one after another, one after the another, the slice of pizza, then what you compare additional benefit you get an additional cost that you have to incur. So you only increase the consumption of a pizza slice only if additional benefits greater than additional cost. That's the lesson. That's why we say rational people think at the margin. By doing so, they can maximize the net gain, the difference between total satisfaction and total cost. Okay. All right. That's the lesson. All right. So let's talk about another example. There is a 200-seat passenger plane. The total cost of operation over a certain route is $100,000. That is, the average cost per seat over the route is $500. What that is, what you can only accommodate. This plane can accommodate only what 200 passengers, and the total cost over the route is $100,000. So they what? So if you divide $100,000 by total capacity, seating capacity is 200 seats, then what? So per seat, per passenger, it'll be what? It'll cost $500 per seat or passenger. Okay. So now the question is, what if a passenger is willing to pay $300 for a seat minutes before the departure? Now remember, there are still many unsold seats. So just the minutes before the departure, somebody is willing to pay $300 for a seat. So what should you do? Should you accept that offer, or you still you should refuse that offer and let the plane take off? Okay. So here, if you refuse the offer based on the average cost per seat, so a manager could think, you know what, this plane can have 200 passengers, and the total cost over this route is $100,000. So that means what? Per seat, per passenger, it costs $500. But since you are offering less than the average cost per seat, so what? I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to take your offer. Okay, then what we say, this manager is what? Committing so-called the average cost fallacy. Okay, so what is the average cost fallacy? Average cost fallacy. So average cost fallacy means what? A failure to think at the margin. Okay. So we can use the previous example here. Okay. So in pizza story, well, if Jalen consumes 5 slices for pizza, then what? Her total satisfaction is 15. Okay. So total satisfaction, 15. So let me go back down here. So from the previous example, so total satisfaction from 5 slices of pizza is 15. So then on average, they what? On average, Jalen gets the what? The $3 satisfaction per slice. So that is what? Total satisfaction divided by total number of slices, 5 slices. So what? $3 satisfaction per slice. Then what was the total cost? So total cost was what? $7.50. And that's what? Total cost of the 5 slices, which is $7.50. So $7.50 divided by 5 slices, so then what? The cost per slice is what? $1.50. So you may say, well, on average, per slice satisfaction was $3. the cost per slice was only $1.50. So average satisfaction was greater than average cost. So what? Well, Jalen made the right choice by consuming 5 slices of pizza. No. So if you just compare average benefit and average cost, then what? You are committing average cost fallacy. In other words, you fail to think at the margin. Okay. So here, again, in this example, let's think at the margin. Suppose there are 50 seats available. If you refuse the $300 offer, the plane will take off with 150 passengers on board. So remember, the plane can accommodate 200 passengers. 150 passengers are on board. Still, 50 seats are available. Now, if you say no to the $300 offer, then what? The plane will take off with 150 passengers on board. But if you accept that offer, $300 offer, then what? Well, you will have an extra revenue of $300. Of course, when you have one more passenger on board, so you have to use what? Maybe a few cents extra cost to serve the last passenger, a cup of a soda, a tiny bag of a pretzel, or plane may be a little heavier. But those extra costs of having one more passenger on board will be negligible. Yet the person is paying $300 for a seat, which is a lot more than extra cost. So if you are thinking at the margin, having one more passenger on board, what's the extra revenue? How much extra revenue do I get? How many extra dollars I receive? $300. How much extra cost will it incur when you have one more passenger on board? Probably much, much less than $300. So additional benefits far greater than additional cost. Then what? Because it's just a minutes before the departure time, you are better off accepting that offer. So again, here, some people are just what? Comparing average cost and average benefit. So when they make decision based upon average benefit and average cost, that we say they are committing average cost fallacy because they fail to think at the margin. Okay. So airplanes don't want to depart with some empty cabin because empty cabins mean less money. So they are willing to take an offer as long as the extra revenue is enough to recoup extra cost of what? Having one more passenger on board. So what is the lesson we learned from this example? So our lesson here is a rational decision maker. Okay. A rational decision maker is what? Of course, thinking at the margin. So rational decision maker takes an action. If and only if the additional benefit and we often call this additional benefit what? Marginal benefit. Is greater than or equal to additional cost. And we call this also what? Marginal, means additional. Now, this is the lesson we learned from the economic principle, which that number 3, rational people think at the margin. Okay. All right. We will stop this lesson here, and we will continue to discuss the rest of the economic principles in the next session. Thank you.